What up guys? What's up cycling fanatics? Today's video is gonna be about the most important thing when it comes to training and planning throughout the year. I'm talking about tapering. I'm 2 weeks out for my big goal, the Marmotte. I'm gonna explain to you how I am gonna taper towards this ride. If you wanna know what I'm gonna do in these weeks and how you should taper for your big event, check out this video. Okay, let me first explain what tapering actually is. If you've been training for a long time and you've been training a lot, fatigue will build up in your body. You'll get better and your fitness will improve, but you also get tired. So with fitness comes fatigue. So what the taper phase is in very short and easy language, you'll decrease the volume of your training so that you minimize the fatigue in your body and you let your body recover, and you try to maintain your fitness, which will optimize your form on the day of the event. Let me explain. So there's a lot of different types in tapering. You can do a linear taper, an exponential taper, either fast or slow, shown in this figure right here. I'm gonna do a linear taper. First of all, getting rid of the long, slow endurance training, and then also pretty much doing all slow endurance in my warm-up and cool-down of my interval training. So all training is going to be done during my interval training, and there's only going to be a short recovery and a short slow endurance training in between sessions. Here's just an image of an example of a taper. The volume keeps increasing until here where the taper starts, and then it plummets down, and that's where the fatigue will go out of your body. You will recover and your performance will be very good. Your performance actually train hard for a while, and then in the taper phase your performance will increase a lot towards your goal. In general, you'll decrease the volume of your training by about 60% throughout between 7 and 21 days. So that's 1 to 3 weeks. This all depends on how much you've been training, how tired you are, what your fitness level is, what kind of event it is, and so on. So there's no perfect taper for every sport, for every person. So it's up to you to decide what works for you. Important is during the taper that you maintain the intensity. So if you do interval training towards your goal, towards your event, you need to still do your interval training in your taper phase, but the volume will be lower. I'm gonna take my training as an example to further explain how to taper. This year, my goal that I've been training for a couple months now is the Marmotte. The Marmotte is a big ride in the French Alps. It's about 175 kilometers and about 5,000 meters of elevation. We start at the bottom of the Alpe d'Huez, then we go over the Glandon, Télégraphe, the Galibier, and then up the Alpe d'Huez where the finish is. I did this ride last year and I'm gonna do it again this year. The training plan I had last year was a little bit different than this year, because last year I trained only for the Marmotte. There were no other races I was competing in. And this year I've been doing a full racing program. So I've been doing races, criteriums in the Netherlands, I've been doing races in USA. So my training plan was completely different. I'll show you my training plan of last year. The light gray bars are the hours of training that I planned. These are the week numbers, and the event is in this week. So every 4th or 3rd week would be a resting week. So the volume increases and then drops down in the rest week, then it increases again, drops down, increase, drops down, increase, and so forth. This is the taper phase. This is what we're gonna have a look at. As you can see, the volume here is very high and it drops down towards the end. This volume is about 60% of what it is here. So the volume drops down a lot. When I look at my training plan of this year, it looks a little bit different but similar. Here you can also see the different types of training I was doing. So light gray is slow endurance, the yellow is some lighter intervals, extensive intervals, and then the blue is more intensive, like FTP intervals or races. You can see the volume was very high before I had any races, and then it was a bit oscillating up and down, but still there's a big drop at the end where I taper towards my goal, which is the Marmotte, and it's in this week. So although my racing schedule is very different from last year, I still have a sort of a similar program where I increase the volume and then drop it down at the end. I'll try to explain this a little bit more by drawing fatigue, fitness and form in a diagram. You can see how this changes with training. Fitness in blue, fatigue in red, form in black. Let's say we start at 0, we train, our fitness level goes up, and every dot will be a training moment. So as we not train, your fitness level will decrease again, back to where we started. If we train again at this point, fitness will rise again, and then it starts to decay. This continues throughout the year. With training comes fatigue, so every moment we train, there will be a big spike in fatigue, which will drop down until we train again. Fatigue goes up again. When you take the difference from the fitness and the fatigue, you end up with your form. So your form is actually how well you perform during a race or an event. Anytime that the fatigue will be above the fitness level, your form is negative. The goal of your taper is to get your form and your fitness as high as you can. So with high fitness and low fatigue, you'll have a high form. Let's say we continue this training. You can see your fitness rises a lot. So right now your fitness is very, very high. But with training comes fatigue. So also your fatigue level will be very high. Difference will be your form, so it's still negative. This will be something like this. At this part we'll start the taper because our event will be right here. So right now we're gonna drop the training load and volume. We'll still train, but we'll train in a different way. So we try to keep our fitness as much as we can. Because you have a low training volume, the fatigue will be a lot less. So this fatigue is gonna drop. The fatigue is gonna drop a lot during this period. And this makes the form actually spike up. So your form at this point is very high because your fitness is almost the same, but your fatigue is very low. This is what we're aiming for. So this will be the taper. Overload or overreaching. So I've made this training plan for myself, and on top is the layout of the race, the Marmotte, so I can look at it every day and know what I'm training for. Below I have all the weeks. I'm not gonna go through all the details right now, but I'm just gonna show you the yellow part is the taper. So it's gonna be the last 2 weeks, and I'm in this taper phase right now. So from now on I've got 2 weeks left. What I do is some interval training on or close to my FTP. So I'm using a power meter right now. I didn't have this last year, so that's an improvement to last year in training. So I can train really precise on my power. So this last week I was doing interval training with one training I had 6 sets of 8 minutes close to FTP, and then the other training I did 2 times 20 minutes close to FTP zone, Z3, and then twice 8 minutes on close to FTP power. These sets will decrease in length. I'm also decreasing the volume of my slow endurance training almost to nothing. I'll do about 4 to 5 training sessions a week, but there's only going to be 3 intense sessions, and the rest is just either recovery training or very slow endurance, just for about an hour or so. From now on I'll be decreasing the length of the interval and increasing the length of the rest period in between. So I'll go from 6 times 8, I'll go to 4 times 8, 3 times 8. Increase the rest in between from 5 to 6 minutes to maybe 10 to 12 minutes. So right now I'm 2 weeks out, I've got 2 weeks training left. This is gonna be a complete taper. I've got this week, coming week I'll do 3 sessions, which are 2 interval sessions, 1 easy session and then a race next Sunday. The week after will be the week of the event. I'll do 1 session with very short intervals. I'll do one session on location, just a short climb, and then I'll do the race. So that's it. From now on, it's trying to get as much as recovery as I can, completely getting the fatigue out of the body, and trying to optimize the performance on the race day. Guys, I hope you like this video. If you have a GRANDFONDO, make sure you taper down towards the event. If you have any questions about it, post them in the video and I will try to answer those. So guys, make sure you subscribe and check out the rest of my videos. I'm gonna be posting more races, more training, and of course I'm gonna vlog the Marmotte. Good luck in your training. See ya! Hey, f***ing Siri, donder op.
Wat is een taper?
Dat ben ik aan het uitleggen in de video.
Is dat hele programma?
Nee?
Dinner's ready!